because to me that's really low information at that point. I don't believe it's going to be a short spike, and I don't believe it's going to be a short spike in gas prices specifically. We had a choice between a nuclear-armed Iran or a short spike in gas prices, and since some of you can't decide if you're a man or a woman, Trump made the decision for you. So this is a propaganda meme, obviously meant to shame people for not being for the war in Iran. If they're for or against, it doesn't matter to me here. So you got the transgenderism issue, you got the war in Iran, whether or not they're nuclear or not. And what I want to zero in on here is the short spike in gas prices, because to me that's really low information at that point. I don't believe it's going to be a short spike, and I don't believe it's going to be a short spike in gas prices specifically. So let's break it down, what we're talking about here. This is reality we're going to talk about. We're not talking about propaganda. We're talking about reality of what we're facing, what we might be facing for quite a while. So let's talk about a barrel of oil. The barrel of oil is really that's ground zero for all of this inflation. Sometimes the problem isn't the barrel of oil. Sometimes barrels of oil are plentiful. Sometimes you got more oil than you need. And when you have more oil than you need, then it becomes a buyer's market, right? Supply and demand. But when there's less oil than you need, it becomes a seller's market. And in this context right now, where we got the Strait of Hormuz being blocked, the Gulf nations under attack, and we've got this choke point in the Middle East, this would be now for oil producers, it's now a seller's market. So because it's a seller's market, that means refineries are now competing with each other more and more for the remainder of the supply of oil, which is why the barrel of oil is more expensive than it was just a few weeks ago, because it's a seller's market, not a buyer's market. So oil is not exactly plentiful right now. So we're going to break down this barrel of oil, and we're going to keep in mind this discussion about a short spike in gas prices. That's what we're really trying to look at here. So from 1 barrel of oil, when oil is refined, it has products in it that, to my knowledge, after they're shipped out, they end up getting further additives given to them, and they get branded. So from 1 barrel of oil, you'll get propane and butane, you'll get gasoline, you'll get diesel fuel, you'll get jet fuel, you'll get heating oil and other products. So the other products are things like asphalt, plastics, just from where the petrochemicals, all of that stuff. So oil is in everything. We use oil for everything. So right off the top, you can see how foolish it is to suggest it's just going to be a short spike in gasoline prices. It's not just a short spike in gasoline prices. Literally everything we use comes from oil. Gasoline, diesel fuel, jet fuel, heating oil, propane, butane, petrochemicals, everything right off the top, right? It's all going to be inflated at this point. So now you have a barrel of oil that has just been purchased and refined at an inflated price. So let's now take a look at petrochemicals that are going to be used to eventually be turned into plastics. So they're going to go from the refinery to a factory where it's going to take those chemicals and make plastics out of it. And then eventually it's going to go to another factory where it's going to be branded into, like, let's say an aspirin bottle, a Tylenol bottle, or some other, maybe some toys or some sort of casing for something. And then from there, it's going to be shipped to the customer. So having already been refined at an inflated price, much of it is going to be moved by a truck. And that truck, what is that going to be operating on? It's going to be operating on diesel that has been sourced from oil that was purchased and refined at an inflated price. So both chemicals and diesel, both refined at an inflated price, and that truck is now going to ship those petrochemicals to the factory at an inflated price. And then from that factory, it's got to have its markup. It's going to distribute it to whatever branding factory it's going to go to, again, probably by a truck. And that's going to be, again, at an inflated price for diesel. And then it's going to go to the customer, again, by truck at an even more inflated price. So this is not just a matter of a tank of gas. Oh, the customer, maybe they drove to the brick and mortar store in their car that they paid more for in gasoline. Why? Because the barrel of oil has been refined at an inflated price, and the price just cascades down the supply chain. It gets more and more expensive until everything gets to the customer. Now, you could also take that, and we'll follow this. Let's look at a marine. Let's look at a tanker, or not a tanker, but let's look at a freighter. Let's say I'm not a mariner. Okay, I'm not a logistics guy as far as so just follow the example. That's what you need here. Take Pakistan, for example. We got a freighter coming from Pakistan to the eastern seaboard of the United States. It looks like it would go up the Suez Canal between Africa and Europe and the Middle East. It would come out and go across the Atlantic all the way over to the eastern seaboard. However, it's going to do that now. There's one other detail I got to add, but we'll back up. For it to make this voyage, again, it's going to do that with bunker fuel, which has been produced by oil at an inflated price for the refinery, right? Because there's a shortage of it. So by the time this freighter gets all the way across the Atlantic, it gets into port, it's going to get on a semi-truck, intermodal, or it's going to get on a rail. Either the train or the truck will be run by diesel, which again was refined at an inflated price, and it's going to be run to a distribution center where it's going to be separated, it's going to be sorted, and then run over to a store where, again, all at an inflated price. So again, the price just cascades. Now, when you consider the situation we got going on in the Middle East right now, apparently the Houthis have just decided they're going to get in the war. So this Red Sea crossing might not be anymore for a lot of ships. So now we got another problem on top of this, because not only is the fuel more expensive for these freighters to use, but now these freighters are going to have to take the long way around, go down toward the southern tip of Africa, and then all the way up toward the eastern seaboard of the United States. That's where that's the route it looks like they would have to take. I'm actually looking at a map right now. You can kind of see the flow of traffic. So you've got the route would be even longer, and so the amount of fuel it uses at that inflated price is going to cost a lot more money because it's going to use more. And on top of that, it's going to cost more because the capacity is going to be tighter, because the ship's going to be on the water for a lot longer. So it's going to cost more money to ship it just for that reason. And then on top of that, that doesn't take into account if they're going anywhere near the Persian Gulf, they got to pay a premium for insurance. So you're not talking about a simple price hike at the gas station. You're talking about massive inflation. Okay. So now if you take a look at a marine map and look at the sheer amount of ships that are on, that's your economy right there. All right. There's thousands of ships out on the ocean at any given time. There's probably 1 million people out on the ocean. Like there's got to be 100,000 people working on the ocean at any given time. So, yeah, you're talking about mass inflation. Now, maybe companies will try to shield the consumer from that mass inflation as much as they can by maybe allowing their profits to be cut into a little bit so they can remain more competitive. But that won't last forever. So that's why you're getting truck drivers going on about having to pay $5 plus per gallon. It's actually like $5.68 right now for Canadian drivers. And it gets even worse because, like I said in my video yesterday, that article about the driver said, I can't make it. He's an owner-operator. He can't make it. Right now, there's 400,000 plus owner-operators in the United States alone. And if any of those drivers, like I know some owner-operators, they get surcharges for fuel, but if they're not getting fuel surcharges, they might have to park their truck. Now, if enough of them have to park their truck, that means that now you have another capacity issue. Now you don't have enough trucks to pick up all the freight from the freighters to take them inland or wherever. It's very complicated, right? There's a lot of nuance to this, right? But I'm just giving you a rundown on how this could go. And so if enough of these owner-operators have to park their truck, now you have a capacity problem. You don't have enough trucks to run the freight. And if you don't have enough trucks to run the freight, that means the rates for moving freight has to go up, which means that is going to, again, work its way down the chain to the customer. So you're not talking about it. Again, to say it's just about a few extra dollars at the gas station so that a war can be fought. No, it's more than that. And then it gets even worse than that, because if this war goes on for a long time, Now you got the Houthis involved, right? Now you got all sorts of freight going to have to be rerouted. But if they start destroying all of the energy depots, if they start destroying all the ports, and you can't, and these logistics managers can't really, like that, it's going to get harder and harder to reroute everything. I can't even imagine how long is it going to be before we get back up to full capacity for shipping, even after the war is over, if they destroy all that infrastructure. But there's one other thing that people aren't considering. If this war does go on for a long time, read your history. Look what happened in World War II. If the war drags on long enough, that's a lot of hardware that the Americans are going to be dropping over there. And likewise, other countries are going to be dropping over there. That all has to be replaced. And at some point, you're going to start seeing a lot of these products from this barrel of oil being given. The government is going to take it. The government's going to have priority on all of that because they're going to have to keep up the war effort. They're going to have to keep. They're going to need it to build bombs. They're going to need it to build tanks, uniforms, all of that stuff, guns, ammunition. It's a lot of metal. It's a lot of hardware. So, and the things that make all of that, like metal, that's all reliant on oil. So everything, so you see what I mean? It all cascades. If this war drags on long enough, the infrastructure gets destroyed, well, now we've got hell for the next several years. And if it drags on, even if the stuff doesn't get destroyed, and if it goes on long enough and the government needs, they're going to start commandeering everything for themselves because they need it. So that's what we're up against. It's much more serious than just a couple of cents at the gas station. So anyway, if you like this analysis, if you like this breakdown, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down below. Am I out to lunch? Let me know. Anyway, cheers. Till next time, keep the rubber side down.